UiPath Community Delhi NCR chapter. You feel free to join the Delhi NCR community on the community page, and you can also scan the QR code to join the WhatsApp group to to receive all the updates regarding any offline or online events that keep on happening. So, starting with the session for today. Today's session will be focused on applying the document understanding models. And this is the part 5 of 8 series for UiPath AI/ML virtual workshop in Delhi NCR chapter. Moving forward, quick introduction about myself. My name is Umesh Dutt Sharma, and I am currently working as a RPA tech lead with the Silicon Partners. You can connect with me on LinkedIn on the provided profile on the chat as well. Moving forward with the agenda for today's session. So we will be having a quick introduction about UiPath document understanding and what are the available models that we have. We'll also have a detailed walkthrough of document understanding framework, how it works. And then we'll cover the different document types and different document structures that are there and how we can integrate document understanding models in UiPath Studio for process workflows. And then at last, we'll be open for Q&A session where we will be answering your questions that you might have. And feel free to share any questions, any feedback that you have during the session as well. We'll try to answer your questions during the session if possible. All right. Moving with the slide. So what is document understanding? So if you're not familiar with document understanding, we'll quickly brief you about it. But if you already know it, it is always better to know that the document understanding itself is not just RPA, it involves AI as well, right? And it's not just about OCR and it's not just about computer vision. So basically, document understanding is something which has a machine which uses ML models in the background, which uses AI, which is a combination of AI and RPA, which basically deals with interpreting or extracting the information from a wide range of documents, which can be structured, unstructured, or semi-structured. We'll cover it in some time. What are those documents type which are supported or can be used for document understanding. So, as I said, our UiPath document understanding combines both RPA and AI to help extract and interpret the data that is available on the document types. And in order to do that, OCR is needed because when you apply any OCR on the document type on a digital document, it extracts the text. And based on the text that is extracted and the schema that is there, right, the document understanding can help us interpret and extract the information. And there can be different types of documents in which you can include PDF files, image files, any handwriting that is there on these digital documents or signatures, checkboxes, any tabular data. Right? So all such type of information can be extracted from digital documents using document understanding. And as you can see in the diagram or the flow, we have majorly there are 3 steps, right? So first is where we receive the document, and when we receive the document, we must be aware about what information has to be extracted, what is the document type, whether it's a structured, semi-structured, or unstructured, and whether it has any signature or any handwriting that needs to be extracted. So the business rules or template has to be defined, and that is the first step. Once we have the document, this next step is to apply the document understanding. And that is where the AI-powered capability comes into the picture, where majorly 3 steps are involved, which includes digitization, which is nothing but applying an OCR on the document to extract the information. The next step is to classify the document, whether the document is invoice or purchase order or a sales order or any receipt, right? So classification is nothing but identifying what the document type is, right, on the business side. And then once it is done, extraction is done using different capabilities that are there in the document understanding framework, which can include ML skills, which can have regular expressions, which can have form extractor and others as well. So once that is done, a human in the loop can also be applied to validate whether the information that is extracted is correct or not, right? And that's optional, but if required, you can apply the human in the loop as well. And once that is done, the data which is extracted can be used later on in the process. Maybe you can send a report what the data has been extracted, or you can use it in any of the third-party system, which can include maybe SAP, Salesforce, or Oracle, any ERP system. Um, so that's the document understanding framework as on a very high level. We'll cover or we'll deep dive into some of the major steps that are involved as a part of document understanding framework, and then we'll also cover the document understanding models that are available and the most frequently used ML models that are available. So coming to the next slide, which documents can be handled by document understanding. So majorly there are three types of document. One is structured documents, which can include any forms, passports, or licenses, which are where the format is fixed, right? And we can go ahead and use document understanding on such documents. You can also use any other method as well where the ML skill might not be needed. We can go ahead with the form extractor or other capabilities that are there in document understanding. But using ML skill is definitely relatively easy and gives better results. But the ML skills are usually preferred for semi-structured and unstructured documents. Right? And based on the document type that is there, so you can use form extractor, regular expression extractor, and ML skill, and even generative extractor, which is recently introduced. And I think generative extractor is something where training is not required and it's really easy to use. We will cover it in the later part of this series. Talking about the other document types, right? When it's to the semi-structured documents, we have invoices, receipts, purchase orders, medical bills, where the format is uh, fixed for certain fields. The field name will remain the same, but the position might change, right? So those such documents are considered as semi-structured document, and training is required for such documents if you need to have a better confidence score. Unstructured document is something where you see a lot of text that is available, which is not fixed, right? And there are documents which might have unstructured document is agreement, contracts, emails, or prescriptions, news, etc. So we'll cover some of these document types in the demonstration just to see how it works, what are the different extractors that it can be used. So this is the very detailed diagram where it shows the different steps that are there in the document understanding framework. As you can see, the document type, which can have either structured, semi-structured, or unstructured document, is fed to the bot, and the bot, which is designed, usually includes these steps as a part of document understanding framework, which includes doing a taxonomy load, where taxonomy is something where we create what is the document type, what is the category of the document, and what are the fields that needs to be extracted, and what are the type of that field, right? We'll cover this in the next slides. We'll cover all these major steps in the next few slides. We'll go through this quickly because if you're already aware or familiar with ML models, how it works. So we'll quickly jump to the demo part, and we'll see these steps at very high level, right? So starting with load taxonomy, the next step, once the taxonomy is loaded, so this is a step, this only needs to be defined only once at the initial stage. And then later on for each document that is there, all the further step that you see happens, which includes digitization, where we apply the OCR to get the text and the document object model of that text of the document, helps to which helps to further get the information out of it. And once the document is digitized using OCR, you can have different types of OCR that is there, including UiPath, Microsoft, Google Tesseract, and others. Omnipage is also there. So you can use that to digitize it. Once you do that, the bot will classify the document, whether it's a invoice or a purchase order or any sales order, right? So based on the training that is provided or the activity that we use, whether it's a keyword classifier or intelligent keyword classifier or any ML skill that is used for the classification. So based on that, it will classify what the document type is or what the document category is. Once that is done, the train and validate, where the human in the loop concept is introduced. So we can have this human in the loop at the classification level as well as at the extraction level. So you can see the train and validate is there at both the steps, classification and extraction. So once the classification is done, you can either have human in the loop to train and validate whether it has correctly classified it or not. Once that is done, the next step is to extract the information from the document using different methods that are available as a part of document understanding framework. And then again, the human in the loop can be applied to train and validate the information which has been extracted and validated by the human, right? And once that is done, at the last step, the data is exported, and then the exported data can be used in the further downstream processes, which can have, maybe we can send a report, we can use it any of the ERP system, or we can integrate it with APIs to feed into any third-party systems, right? But overall, these are the major steps that are involved in a document understanding framework. So we'll just quickly go through these steps which are there, and then we'll quickly get started with the walkthrough. So the first step is loading the taxonomy, where you can see this is how the taxonomy manager look like, where we have different document types, which can have semi-structured, unstructured, or structured documents. And then under each group, we can create a category based on the document which are there. Let's suppose if we have financial documents, which can include invoices, receipts, purchase order or sales orders, and etc. So this is one of the category. You can create different category inside this group. And then for each category, you need to create what fields needs to be extracted, right? And you see these fields are uh, they can have different types, which can have maybe number, string, address, or date, and etc. So you can define the type of each field which is there, or which needs to be extracted from that particular document type. So this needs to be defined only once. Once that is done, the next step is to digitize the document using OCR. And like I said, whenever we digitize any digital document, which is in the form of PDF or image, can be digitized using any of the OCR that are available. And then once the document is digitized, we get the document text as a human readable form. And then we also get the DOM, which is a document object model with the positioning of the text that are there on the page. In the downstream process, where the bot uses the classification and extraction, it utilizes the document text and the document object model to identify the position of the text, right? So apart from this, let's go to the next step, which is about classification and splitting the document. So this is where the bot basically split and classify the document that are there. Just give me a minute. Sorry for the interruption. So we're talking about the classification step where the bot basically split all the document pages and identify each page what document type it is, whether it's an invoice or purchase order or a sales document, right? And then the classification station where we can identify whether it's whether the classification is done correctly or not. We'll see it in the demonstration as well. The next step is to extract the data. And this is where we can apply different capabilities of document understanding. We can have regular regex-based extractor. We can have form extractor, intelligent form extractor. We can have different ML extractor to extract the information from different types of documents. And the mapping has to be done against each document type and the field that needs to be extracted. Right. And then we'll at the last stage before the export actually the validation has to be happen. So this is an optional step where you can apply some business rules if the confidence score of certain fields is below the threshold. The bot will create a action center task for manual review. So this is required only when you need to have a human in the loop in the process. And the data that is submitted at this step, right, at the action center can later be used to retrain the ML model using uh, uh, the scheduling at the ML or the AI center part. At the last step is to extract the data using export data activity. And it can export the data in the data table format, and you can have it in Excel or something where you can use it later on to maybe integrate with SAP or any other third-party system, or maybe send just as a report or upload it on SharePoint, right? Then whatever data has been validated, like be it a classification step or extraction step, can be used to train the ML models, right? And how it happens is basically, so it creates a copy of the data on your local system, wherever you have submitted, and then the same data is pushed to storage bucket as well. And you can just simply apply a retraining capability in the AI center, where the bot will run the pipeline on the fine-tuned data set that are available in the data sets in the AI center. So that's how basically the retraining happens. So whatever data has been submitted at the action center can be used to retrain the model further to improve the accuracy. So, all right. So talking about the ML models that are available as a part of document understanding. So these are the majorly used ML model, which are pre-trained model, which includes invoices, receipts, purchase order, utility bills, passports, ID cards, W2, W9 forms, right, related to vendors. So, and these are the other forms or pre-trained models based on the document type. So currently there are around close to 50 plus such pre-trained models that are available in the document understanding. Under AI Center, we'll see that what are those pre-trained models that are available. And then the retraining can happen using AI Center. So these are some of the ML models that are available, as you can see in the screenshot. And then you can use these pre-trained ML models. So when we talk about pre-trained, right? So that means we can use these ML models as is as well. Some of these models as is without training. And then if you think you have certain documents which can be basically which where you need the training to document, because there can be some specific or extra field which is not a part of this pre-trained model. You can train the documents. You can get those documents. You can train these ML models to fetch that extra that extra field after the training is done. Right. And then once the training is so before actually doing the training, you need to create a data labeling session. And that is where you can find on the data labeling, you can create a data labeling session for the document types that are available, right? And then once you train the data set, when you label all the information that is there, you can just simply export the data set and then train your ML model by running the pipeline. So we'll see these steps one by one so that we don't miss out anything. And I'll share some of the data which can help you to quickly get started with all these steps, which can guide you with some of the best practices. And at last, we will also cover some part of the document understanding part of UiPath, which is where the UiPath is shifting its focus to. So going forward, whatever we see in the AI center will be moved to document understanding. All right. So let's quickly see the walkthrough of and the demo of document understanding. So right now I'm on the AI center, and we'll quickly go through the document understanding models project that I have. So as of now, I don't have any ML packages created and anything is there, but I have created three folders for three different types of document types, which includes invoices, passports, and purchase order. So we'll see how we can basically use this. So there's nothing in here right now. It's all blank. So I created this for the reference only. So what we will do is, as a part of document understanding model that needs to be used, you need to identify what is the document type that you have as a part of business process or any POC that you are creating. In order to check whether there are any pre-trained model available, you can simply go to the ML packages, out of the box packages, and then UiPath document understanding models. And this is where you can see different ML models which are pre-trained are available for different document types. So you can check whether the document that you have received from the business is already available here or not. If not, you can always go ahead with the ML model, which is document understanding. So we have a document understanding model inside of this UiPath document understanding, which means you can train this particular ML model on the data set that you had, and it can have any type of document which is not available in here. You can simply use this one, and then you can train this ML model on the data set that you had. It can even on invoices. Let's suppose you have some invoices which are not giving some good results on the existing data ML skills, like invoices, Australia, China, India, Japan, uh, invoices shipping, right? So if the documents that you have do not give any good results on these ML models, you can simply create a new one using document understanding and train and create a new ML skill and then use it. So it will give you similar or better results, right? So as a part of today's demo, we will be checking maybe how to basically create an ML model or use it, right? So you can just simply go ahead and maybe select invoices, and then you choose the updated version that is there, because it is always recommended to use the latest version, because there is always some improvement that have happened in the updated version of ML package. Right? Once you do this, you can just name it and based on the document type, and it will be undeployed for the first time. So as a part of training that is needed, right? Since you have, let's suppose you have your specific set of invoices with some additional fields, which is not available as a part of uh, the regular fields, right? So you can create a data labeling session for that. And when we do this, let's create a data labeling session maybe for invoices. Okay, and let's suppose we don't have any data set. I want to have my own data set, and I'll just simply name it as invoices one or something. And once I do that, it will create a data labeling session for us. And as you can see, this is available now. And when I click on this, you will see that so data labeling session is something where we can train, uh, we can create a training data set, a trained data set based on the documents that we have. We can have any type of documents. So in here, we don't have anything as such for now. It's all blank, right? So to start with, maybe what is needed, right? So based on the document type that you have, UiPath provides some schemas, some predefined schemas that you can use, where you can just simply uh, import those schemas in the data manager. So these are the predefined schemas that are available from UiPath for different types of ML packages. So for let's suppose for invoices, right? Since you're dealing with invoices, when I click here, it will download a zip file, which will be a schema file, right? And what we can do is we can go to the document manager and we can import the schema file. You can name it anything. It doesn't matter what you give here when you are importing the schema. So once you do that, it will automatically identify that this is a schema file. And what the schema file contains is nothing but the field names and the field type. So you will see that the document manager is analyzing at that it has detected that it's a schema file. It's not a regular document. When we import it, we'll see the regular fields and the column fields and the classification fields generated using the schema file that we just imported. You can also create your own fields that are, if you see that something is not available, let's suppose if you want to have one more entry for maybe you already have uh, some entry for shipping address or shipping charges. Maybe you can want to have freight charges or something, because that is sometimes have seen that there are different charges, different sections for shipping and freight charges. Right? So you can create any more regular fields if you think, and you can maybe hide something which is not needed so that you don't have to label or extract this information. Similarly, you can export any predefined schema for the available pre-trained models, right? So once that is done, let's suppose you also want to import the data set. So how you can do this, you can just simply create any name, maybe data set one or something, and then import the text file. I mean, just- let's suppose if I import these many documents, it will apply the OCR and it will scan these documents and it will analyze if there are any duplicate documents, if there are any documents which are not supported, right? You will see all the informations in here. And once you click on import, it will import the details, all the documents in here. And you will see that the OCR will be automatically applied in here using UiPath document OCR. And it will take some time based on the document numbers and whether it's an image based or it's a native text PDF, right? Based on that, it will take some time. And you can also close this. It won't impact anything because this is happening in the backend, right? So let it happen in the backend. We can see the import is still happening. So as a part of the features that are available in Document Manager for training, right? So we have two options. Well, one is to predict and the other is generative predict. So by default, these two are enabled. We also have model predict, which is disabled by default. And what you can do is, since model predict is something which uses ML skill endpoint in order to train. So there is a difference between generative predict and model predict. So the predict one is the combination of predict and model predict, as you can see, right? So to enable the model predict, and what is the use of this is basically it uses the existing ML skill endpoints that are already there in order to uh, maybe label the information that is there. Since it is disabled and we are dealing with invoices, we can click on the settings icon and in the pre-labeling, This is where we can provide the pre-label ML skill URL. If you have any ML skill, public ML skill endpoint in any of your tenant which you are already using, right, in production, you can just simply use that ML skill endpoint and the pre-labeling key in here to further train the upcoming documents, right? If you want. So that way you can have, you can also test how it's working, right? So let's see what are the public endpoints that are available as a part of document understanding. So as you can see, so these are the endpoints that are available from UiPath. So these are the public endpoints that you can use to train or extract the information without I mean, just as a pre-trained model, basically. As you can see, this is the endpoint for invoices. So you can use this endpoint in the pre-labeling one in here, and then you can provide the pre-labeling key as well in here. And you can get the pre-labeling key, nothing but the AI units key that is available on the admin portal under licenses. So you can use that in here. And once you do and click on save, you can see that the other option is enabled now, model predict. And you can also use the model predict to predict, or it will basically apply the model predict. So basically the public endpoint URL which we have provided, which is a pre-trained ML model, to extract the information in here. So you can see that it has extracted the information in here based. So this is extracted using the model predict, and it has also extracted the currency, as you can see, right, euro. Let's see with the other document how the generative predict works. So there is a difference because generative predict might not give us a better result because it's based on the generative AI. It's not trained for any specific type of document, but it can still give us some good results, but not better as compared to the pre-trained ML skill, right? But the combination of generative predict and ML model definitely gives better results. So it's always recommended to use the combination whenever you are doing the data labeling, and then correct anything that is required. So as you can see, the currency has not been classified, but the documents is same, right? For the same set of document, the generative predictor is not able to identify the currency, but model predict were able to do that. So it is always recommended to use the combination when you're doing the training. And once you do that, it will automatically save everything. So that's how you can basically train your document. Depending on the document type that you have, you can just train this. Once the training is done, you can just simply export it, export the data set to AI Center, right? So we'll not cover much of this because it involves a lot of data labeling training, and it takes a lot of time to train such a large data set. But since UiPath has also introduced active learning and document understanding as a service right in here, so we'll cover that in the next session on, I guess, next week, where we can see how we can utilize this document understanding capability to quickly create or annotate these documents 10 times faster than how we do it in here in Document Manager. So that's why so the focus is shifting to document understanding in here. So AI Center will be phased out in coming years, and then we'll have everything available in the document understanding. So that's about the document understanding document manager. So we have covered how we can import the schema, how we can use the pre-labeling and for prediction and for training, right? So the training part is something which takes a lot of time, right? Since we have to export the data, and once the data set is available in here under maybe invoices or something, right? So you will see export folder in here, and then you can use that to create a pipeline uh, on this ML package that you have created and the data set that is there that was generated from data labeling. Once that is done, you will have a ML skill, customized ML skill that you can use, right? But as a part of demonstration today, we will be utilizing the public endpoints for data extraction. And for that, I'll quickly open the UiPath Studio and I'll walk you through the document understanding framework that we have. All right. So this is the document understanding framework that you see, and how you can start with this is, so in the template, you can see it's already there, by the way. So whenever you navigate to the start page, you will see a document understanding process in here, right? So this is, once you see that, so it is only available for the latest version of Studios, starting with 23.4 or 23.10. You will see this document understanding process, and once you click on this, it will create a template. So it's a template similar to RE framework, which you can use by customizing it as per the need. But it follows the best practice. It follows all the steps that are needed. So this is the document understanding framework, and you can see that there is a main attended file and there is one more file for Action Center. So Action Center is for the unattended automations where it creates a validation station task for human in the loop at Action Center. Attended is something which basically generates or create a form-based uh, design for you to manually validate. So this is for attended automation where the business users get the pop-up on their screen to manually verify the document, right? So in our case, we will be using the Action Center one. And in order to use this with the document understanding framework, you have to customize it, change certain fields, right? And for that, I have uh, modified, or I have updated the config file where I have provided the values that are highlighted in here, right? So this is already available. This is all created already. I did not change anything. I just provided the action catalog and the folder path and the storage bucket name, right? That's it. And the API key, because I don't want anything to be come from asset for this demo. So I have not created any assets, just these five values were updated, right? Once that is done, the other part that needs some modification is, since I'm not using any queue for this demo, I have set this as false and I have provided the target file. So what this particular TU framework does is basically it processes one file at a time. So as an input argument, you need to provide the target file path, right? So when you provide the target file path, it will process that particular file path and just once. And how it is invoked basically, so whenever you want to invoke this workflow, you have to pass a unique file path every time. So that way, if you have 100 files to process, this DU framework bot will process, or it will run 100 times to process those 100 files. So that's how it is designed. And the reason it is designed such a way is to make it more scalable. So let's suppose if you have 4 robots license available, the 4 robot license can process 4 documents parallelly, and it will process 4 different files right at the same time. So that's why this is created by keeping in mind that it can be made scalable as well. And it's very robust, as you can see, with there are a lot of try catch and retry mechanism that is already implemented in here with all the very good logging mechanism. Right. So in order to use this, let's quickly check the area where it needs some attention, which is the extraction part, right? As you can see, we have in here different types of extractor that is being used, which includes the regular-based regex-based extractor, form extractor for semi-structured document, or a structured document. We use these form extractor, and then we have ML extractor for receipts and invoices, right? So as you can see, I have not provided any ML skin. So the endpoints that you see here are nothing but the public endpoints, which are pre-trained on these type of documents. Sorry. So we just need to provide the API key, and that is already provided in the config file. Now, with these minimum changes, where I provided the file path and I updated some of the values in the config file, I can just simply use this document understanding framework. But before doing that, I need to have actions and action catalog created in the action center. And I need to have storage bucket created as well, right? Because that's the name I have provided in the config file. So this is already created, and let me just show you how to create that. You need to go to the admin settings, and then whatever folder that you are using as a part of this process, you can create that action catalog, and then you just need to provide the same name in the config file. Similarly, with the storage bucket, we have I have the same name storage bucket on the shared folder that I have provided in the config sheet. So that's the only requirement. That's the only minimum setup that you can do in order to use the document understanding framework. And let me also show you the data that is there that we'll be using as a part of this demo. Right. So this particular document has 4 types of documents, which include certificate of filing, and it has invoice, it has a W-9 form for vendor and validation, and then there's a receipt as well. So we have 4 different types of document in a one single file, and we can, when I'll run this uh, bot from here in the studio, it will process this document and it will scan it, and it will basically create some actions center tasks for us to manually validate. And so how it works is basically whenever we are debugging or running such long running processes, right, where action center is involved, it goes into suspended state in studio, and it won't resume until and unless we complete those action center tasks and manually come here and resume it, right? And but once these processes are deployed to orchestrator, they will go to suspended state. But as soon as you complete the action center task, it will automatically resume. So we don't have to manually resume it there, because that's how long running processes work. But that's not the case with Studio. You have to manually resume it. So we'll see it in some time. So as you can see, the digitization has started for this particular document, where we have 4 documents merged in a single PDF file. It will digitize it. It will classify it for each page. And then we'll see the next step, where it will create some action center task for us to manually validate. As you can see, it has identified the document types that are there, right? Invoice, form, receipt, certificate of filing for each page. And it has went into suspended state after, well, after classifying it. And in order to check what is there in the document and for action center, right? We'll go to the action center, we'll see we have the bot has created action center task for us. I'll quickly assign it to myself. And in real world scenario, these action center tasks are being performed by the business team, just to make sure that the document is being classified correctly. As you can see, it has classified all the document pages correctly based on what is provided in the document understanding framework. Since it is correct, I submitted it. I need to manually resume it. And this is why I was saying that it has to be manually resumed in Studio. But in real case, world scenario, in production, in Orchestrator, when it is deployed to Orchestrator, it automatically resumes. So once the once the document is classified, the next step is to extract the document, right? And that is what the bot is currently doing. It's extracting the information based on the different extractor that is there as a part of document understanding framework for this demo, right? Once that is done, it will create a validation station or action center task again, and it went into suspended state. So it's going into suspended state because I have set the flag as true. So every time it will process any document, it will send it to manual validation. As you can see, it has extracted some of the information, but seems like the file number is not extracted correctly. So we'll do it like this. And since it is not correct, so you can always edit this field to have the correct value. and that's it. You can just simply save it and continue. And similarly, you can just manually validate whether the details with the bot has extracted is correct or not. You can verify it and then submit it. The checkbox, as you can see, it has extracted correctly as a as a part of video box. And then this is the receipt. So receipts or purchase order or invoices usually have an items, which is a type of table where you need to manually validate everything. Else it will not allow you to submit. Right. So let's suppose everything is correctly extracted with some minor changes, and everything seems like this is also correct. Right. So the table is also extracted correctly. The total amount is there, right? So everything is extracted correctly. We don't need to actually deep dive into what it has extracted. So we'll resume it once all the tasks are submitted. If I resume it only when the one of the task is submitted, it will again go into suspended state because it will keep on waiting for all the tasks to be completed, right? And so that's why when I submitted all the tasks, that's only I resumed it. So it has completed its execution. Let's suppose what do we have in the export folder? So we have 4 different files that are generated where we can see the extraction result. Right. So let me just open the first one where we have the certificate of filing, where we can see the document file name and the information which the bot has extracted out. So similarly for other documents as well, we can see what the bot has extracted, and when we can further use this information in the downstream processes, where maybe for reporting purpose or for to use it further in the maybe you can add this data in a queue as well for next set of bot to process, right? So that's how you can use a combination of different extractors in the document understanding framework, including the ML skills, like ML skill extractor for document understanding. We are using pre-trained ML skill model. You basically the public endpoints, right? So we are using these ones. But what you can do is you can create your own ML model, like how we covered in the previous sessions, how we can create our own model and create a pipeline to train it, right? And then once you have that, you can just simply use it in the document understanding framework. So that's about it on the document understanding models that are available, how you can train it. And like I said, the UiPath is also moving its shift to the document understanding capability here itself. And the reason is it's really relatively faster to annotate and create the data sets after training. And it also basically classify the document types for you. So we'll cover this in the upcoming session, which will be on the next week. And then you will be able to relate that, yeah, this is the better way to do this. But there are some cases where you might still have to go with data manager, where you need to do extensive manual training. And then based on the document type that is there, I think you can still go ahead with the document manager if, in case what the document type that you are processing. So that's about it for today's session. Feel free to share any questions, any feedback that you might have, anything that you think should be covered in this one. Because of the time constraint, we did not create any ML skill or we did not exported the data set from here because data labeling takes a lot of time, right? As you can see, it takes around 1 to 2 minutes to label and verify everything in here. So it is recommended to have at least 15 to 20 documents for each format, which will make this data set very huge. And based on our experience, we have seen that the data set sometimes reaches thousands and thousands of invoices in order to get the good results out of it. Right? But this is not possible. It's a very time-consuming process. That's why we did not cover it. But the idea was to give you or show you how it is done. Right? So and this is where you can simply see what how many documents are needed. So it is, I think, as you can see, close to 2750 documents are needed to get to the good score, basically. So yeah, that's about it from today's session. Any questions from the committee members? Nothing as such. Right. So Pranav says, do we also need to verify the field values? Right. So after, okay, before processing. Yes, so there is already a step for pre-processing and post-processing in here. So let me just open the config file for you where you can have, you can define your business rules for verification. So let me just open the config file. Okay, here it is. So you can see, right, post-processing. So these are the post-processing business rules that are defined. You can have defined your threshold for each field type. You can add or remove any field type from here uh, based on the business rules that you'd see. And if and similarly for receipt and uh, other document types, you can have one more sheet created. And then this is the autocorrect OCR mistakes, which is basically done before during the digitization step. So yes, you can have pre-processing and post-processing checks in the framework, and you can always modify it based on the need. So usually in pre-processing, you can see in the digitization, you will see some options where it let's see if we have it here. In some of the document, in some of the OCR, we do have an option for pre-processing. I think not on this one, but you can try with the Omni OCR and the others, and you will see some options for pre-processing. It basically deals with the special characters and everything else based on the business rule that you provide. Right.
Look, I have one question.
Yeah, Ashish.
Yeah, to extract, so basically when we are trying to extract information via documents, so one is the AI center which you showed us, so that's one of the ways. I was also interested in knowing we have Gen AI activities available via integration
Yes.
services where we can upload
Yes.
documents and extract information, and we have access to models like GPT-4 and Gemini models we have.
Right.
And you
Right.
have also have generative extractors for document understanding as well.
Right. Right.
So the document understanding with the generative extractor from the document understanding, do they use the same GPT models or they are specially trained for extracting documents?
Right. Right. So
Because
the yes. Yes. Please.
yeah, because what I saw is when I was using the GenAI activities
Hmm.
from the GPT models, I I encountered hallucination problems, but with the
Hmm.
generative extractors on DU were very less
Hmm.
compared to those. So I just
Right.
wanted to understand what models they are using for this.
Right, right. So,
behind the scenes.
so right, right. So as you can see, the generative extractor, which is part of this document understanding ML package, right? So this comes from UiPath. So basically, it uses UiPath's LLM model, which is already they might have created in-house, right? So this is something which they have created, and you can see that there is nothing, there is no API key as such required for this to use this, right? It's all free to use. So this UiPath has created it for specifically for document understanding ML models, right? And this is specifically designed for this use case only. But the other one that is available on the integration service, where there you can have maybe OpenAI or ChatGPT, right, or from other organizations. So they are trained on different set of LLM models, right? Different set of data. So it varies, right? That's why you see difference as well when they are extracting the data. But like I said, I mean, since you are aware about the data, I mean, the document that you are using, if you want to have a specific ML skill created, you can go ahead with the ML models. And if you see, there are very less number of information needs to be extracted. Let's suppose only amount needs to be extracted, or maybe some date or some other information needs to be extracted. You can go ahead with generative extractor because you don't need to train anything. And the information that you're extracting is very limited, right? And even if it goes
Yes.
wrong, you will still have some pre-processing or post-processing checks to check it and then maybe use some other ways. But if you are having a very large data set or large, I would say, fields to extract, right? Maybe close to 10 or 20. I would not suggest generative extractor because it might not give better results. I will recommend to use ML skills for that particular case.
Yes. So like if I have a varied set of documents, like if I say I am extracting information of invoices, but the invoices structures keeps on changing for like I would have around 15, 20
Hmm.
structures of invoices. So there the generative AI will not help much. So I will have to create an
Right,
ML skill and then go ahead with that.
right,
Okay, got
right.
it, got it.
And even if you see, right, one of the example could be that we related to date, right? If you want to extract invoice date, the generative extractor might, even if you provide it in the prompt, it might still give you a very different date format, right? It cannot
Yes,
have consistent date format, even if you provide it in the prompt. That's what I have also seen. But if when you are using ML skill, it will always give you a consistent date format. It automatically corrects it, right? You will receive a very single format of date that you can use. So that is one of the use case, I guess, and that is where I guess there is a difference between these two, and it is still maturing. So the generative extractor, but you can use it for, I would say, for limited piece of information. It
ye-
works great.
yes, because we have some use cases where we need the information. So when we use generative, and if it doesn't find the answer, it tries to give something, but the ML skill, if it
Yes,
doesn't find the answer, it will not give.
exactly.
So
That's
so
the
instead of a
difference.
wrong answer, if you don't get an answer, that is more reliable.
Exactly, exactly. That's
So
right.
yeah, okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have one more question from Pranav, where so he's asking, can it happen that the fields like shipping, billing address are not correctly identified by DU and make further mistake in the process? How can we manage that? So, so the further mistake, right? When you're talking about further mistake by the DU model, so it can only happen when auto retraining is enabled. So whenever you're doing the data labeling, you need to make sure that you are labeling it correctly, right? If you don't label it correctly, if you miss out some shipping or billing addresses in few of the documents, you won't get the results as expected. But when you're talking about further mistake, I'm assuming you're talking about retraining. Whenever we submit similar invoices or documents where some information where we have not identified those fields correctly. Is that right?
No, exact. What I was saying was like after scanning the documents with document understanding, we have to put those values somewhere, right? In some other application or something, right? I mean,
Mhm.
right? That is like there will be some post process after that document understanding, right? So
Mhm.
supposedly we are not able to capture the correct address, or suppose not, or the amount, or
Mhm,
like some mistake happens. Okay,
mhm.
I'm not sure. And then there is a post process, and that post process is about some payment or something. So we cannot afford to have that kind of mistake, right, in
Right,
such
right,
scenarios. So how to manage that or handle that in some way that it is completely like foolproof or something.
right, right. So as you can see, Pranav, in here in the config file, in the invoice post processing, so we have this confidence value that you see, and the
Mm-hmm.
fields that are there. So we have various fields which are mandatory, right? So these
Okay.
information must be there, which includes
Okay.
invoice number and everything else. So shipping details, shipping address, and you see it's in the confidence fields. So we have a different confidence field for each uh, field type basically. So let's suppose
Hmm.
if you think that so we get the confidence score at the AI center, sorry, action center. So if you see that it's going beyond, if you want to have the 100% accurate shipping address because your downstream process is dependent on that particular field, right? So you need to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that it is beyond 90 or 95%. Otherwise,
Okay.
just create an action center task, right? Because that's the
Okay.
only way to handle that so that it's not making any mistake in the downstream processes,
Okay. But
right?
if we make the action center, then ultimately it becomes a manual thing only, na? I mean,
Not for
if
all
it
the
is
all the cases, right? If the bot is
okay.
able to extract it accurately for
Mm-hmm.
that's I would say at least 60-70% of documents, this is still
Okay.
it is still uh, removing all the manual work that is needed, right? So the only time it is requiring
Okay.
the access is there is some difference in the details or how it is trained, and that's why it is not able to extract the shipping address or something, so any specific field. And that is where I think the retraining part comes into picture to improve the ML model for such documents, where you can
Mm-hmm.
minimize those documents over the time,
Okay. Okay.
and that's how it improves by itself.
Okay. Thanks you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. So I think we don't see any other questions, and I'm really thankful for your queries